All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Let me know you can hear me. Sound check a 1, 2. How's everybody doing this morning? Awesome, appreciate that. Good morning. All right. So let's take a look at a couple things here with the markets and what we got going for today. So, um, my game plan for today, much similar to yesterday here. There's a couple earnings names I'm watching this morning as well. Um, Obviously, we had BYND come out yesterday after the bell. We also had Google come out after the bell. And both of those currently down at the moment. BYND down pretty big. What's going on, Jose, RJ, Johnny? Appreciate that, guys. Um, so, in terms of news announcements we have on the day, we're looking at, CB consumer confidence numbers here at 10 a.m. Um, Parliament Brexit vote is tentative, so I have no idea when or if that is going to happen, what the situation is there. Um, and I do think that'll, have some type of impact here, definitely on the currencies. And something I was noticing here this morning that I put in the write-up, but basically, we're at 133,000 contracts traded in the overnight session for the S&Ps right now. We're at 154,000 contracts traded in the overnight session for gold right now. And we're at 190,000 contracts traded in the overnight session for crude oil. So we talked about that yesterday where I couldn't remember a day where gold had traded more volume than the S&Ps. And here we are today, and gold's 20,000 contracts over. Now again, that's just the start of the morning here. It doesn't necessarily mean that gold is going to continue to have more volume than the S&Ps today. But just something I'm noticing here this morning. And again, we're only at 133,000 contracts in the overnight session for the S&Ps. So we've talked about that over the past, basically 4 or 5 days where it's just been kind of lighter volume. I mean, we've been moving, obviously, but it's been lighter volume. And I don't necessarily know 100% what to make of that completely. But what I'm starting to think is that some of that is just waiting for the FOMC at this point. So I think we're getting to the point to where FOMC stuff is going to start to come into play this afternoon, and then for sure into tomorrow morning. Earnings and stuff like that are going to be outside of the reach of that at the moment. But the overall markets, I think, are just going to be pausing and waiting for that to happen. So in terms of the S&Ps, we had overall yesterday on the day, we ended up having a 9.5 point range for the regular trading hour session here in the S&Ps. Lows down here, 30, 33 quarters. Highs up here, 30, 42, 75s. I've gone ahead and left this 30, 33 quarter level in place, the one we were watching for yesterday. Also left in place 25 quarters and 1975s, and then added in 30, 40, 75s, which so far the overnight high is 30, 40.75 to the tick so far. So what I'm really watching for right now is we're going to be opening, pretty much inside of this zone here. And basically the way I'm going to treat this today is if we crack under 30, 33 quarters, then I think we've got room to 30, 25 quarters. Again, first test of this level, I'm a buyer there. It's going to be support. We traded 29.50s in the overnight session so far. So there's about 8 points we can drop there. We're currently trading 33.50s. If 25 quarters don't hold, then under 1975s, I'll start to be interested to the short side here for this market. That is the only, real kind of longer term trend break there. I think some scalps today to the downside if we crack 33 quarters are okay, but realistically, larger size positions, more aggressive shorts don't start to take effect until we get under 1975s here. Um, so I'm a little bit conflicted in the sense that, I think we could potentially trade these 25 quarters here today, rally back to 33 quarters, and then from that point, it would essentially be a coin flip as to which direction this market wants to go from there. Like I said, I think we're going to be gearing up for a little bit of, kind of wait and see game with FOMC. So I am, making sure I'm aware of that. The one thing I see here from a daily chart perspective, this looks like it needs a pullback. This is a pretty decent little topping tail here on the daily chart. It's a gap up that couldn't hold the rally, right? And then, now it's going to be gapping kind of under this daily bar here, currently printing 32.75s there. So it'll be an interesting, looking pattern here, depending on how this sets up. And it's right into new all-time highs. So it would make some sense that we can get a pullback. But again, the hourly chart is still in an uptrend, has a little bit of room to pull back 30, 25 quarters. And then from there, we could potentially go right back up into, like I said, these 30, 40, 75s. And then through that, we're off and running the races. Most likely, I think we're going to stay contained inside this zone. And then that's most likely where we'll end up being tomorrow as well, about the same time and at 2 o'clock or so when the FOMC announcement comes out. At least that's what I'm seeing kind of so far out of these markets. NASDAQ, similar thing here. NASDAQ level is 81.2475s and then 80.4450s here. NASDAQ, of course, is potentially weaker here, or has the potential to be weaker here. With a move like BYND, this thing's down like $22 here this morning, going to be gapping to like 83 bucks. But in terms of percentage change, NASDAQ is not the weakest. NASDAQ is actually the strongest. It's unchanged on the day right here. S&Ps are down 0.12%, Russell down 0.37%, and the Dow down 0.23%. So Russell is the weakest here this morning. NASDAQ, I think, has the potential to become the weakest. Names like Google here gapping down about 15 bucks. BYND obviously gapping down pretty decently. But what I want to watch for here with the Russell is this 1564.30. If that level trades and then really starts to act like it wants to break, then that'll kind of change my bias in terms of, a little bit longer term bullish pattern that we have right now. That may start to put a little bit of chink in that armor, and we could reverse, and at least get down to 80.44 50s in the NASDAQ and those 1975s in the S&Ps. Again, none of that has happened just yet, and if and when it does, then I would be willing to participate in that. At the moment, I think it's a sideways to slightly up market after a pullback initially. So that's what I'm looking for here this morning. Favorite ticker symbols this morning to watch. We've got Texas Roadhouse is going to be gapping up pretty decently, TXRH, Google, BYND. Also watching Shopify, that was gapping down this morning. And then paying attention to McDonald's. From a daily chart, this thing is just getting worked over. And I think at some point is going to go climactic to the downside. So nice earnings gap down and then just straight sell off. This is essentially the same pattern that I saw out of UPS. Or at least what I thought we were going to see out of UPS here when we were down around 112s. And this thing just could not finish getting going to the downside there. So again, UPS I thought was going to have the type of move that McDonald's has had so far. And McDonald's is just screaming to the downside here. And at some point, this does go climactic, and we can step in to the long side at that point. Where that ends up being yet, we won't know until the volume starts to come in, and that thing really starts to pick up some steam. But anyways, that's what I've got for this morning. Again, going to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit quiet. I'm still holding the BIIB positions from yesterday. I also have the Amazon swing position on. I did put on a BYND position yesterday for the earnings release. That is going to be a loser. And then I also have a trade on in Google for the earnings release, and that will also be a loser. But there is a video I'm going to be doing later this week on BYND where I did a little order execution mistake, screw up, whatever it is you want to call it. And I'll detail all of that. It ended up costing me about $600 on BYND. I was not as attentive to the order that I was looking to put in as I should have been, and I ended up putting the order in absolutely in reverse. Had to buy it back and then actually put it on the right position. So I'll go through that. I haven't done that in quite some time actually, but I will go through and make a new video on that one specifically as well. So anyways, that's what I've got for this morning. Take it nice and easy here. Let this open settle out. Have some patience on the day. Map out your trades. Know what it is you're looking to do. And if it doesn't happen, then don't press anything today. Again, tomorrow's FOMC, Apple earnings, Facebook, Starbucks, ton of names, and should give this market some real solid direction here in terms of if it's going to reverse or continue to push us higher. So that's what I've got for this morning. Thank you guys so much for coming on and hanging out. I'll be back in just a few minutes for everyone in the MLT Discord. If you want to join myself, Perry, Rob, Jay, all of the rest of the team in there, there is a link in the description below. Click on that. It'll get you all the details on how to get in there, and look forward to having you in there. Have a great rest of your trading day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.